You know what's worse than being betrayed by someone you love? Finding out you're legally dead while you're still breathing. I spent 3 years building a life in Thailand, thinking I'd found my person, my peace, my purpose. Turns out, I was just funding my own funeral. When the bank called to tell me my pension payments had been suspended due to my death certificate, I thought it was a joke. Thai bureaucracy, right? Wrong. My wife Pornthip had reported me dead 6 months earlier. Not missing, not injured, dead. And she'd been collecting my monthly pension like clockwork, probably planning to milk it for years. The kicker. She was still cooking me breakfast every morning, still sharing my bed, still calling me her darling husband. I was a ghost married to a liar, and I didn't even know I was haunting my own life. If our stories help you see the warning signs, don't forget to like and tell us where you're watching from. This story was shared with us by one of our longtime viewers from Australia. He asked us to change some details for privacy, but wanted others to learn from his mistake. I'm standing in my kitchen in Chiang Mai, making coffee like any other Tuesday morning when my phone rings, Commonwealth Bank of Australia. I almost don't answer, probably another security check or rate change notification, but something makes me pick up. Mr. Lawrence Griffith? The voice is professional, detached. Yeah, that's me. Sir, we're calling regarding your pension account. There's been a suspension of payments due to a death certificate filed with Thai authorities. I nearly dropped the phone. I'm sorry, what? Your account shows you as deceased as of 6 months ago. We need you to contact our international department. Immediately. The woman keeps talking, but her words turn into white noise. Dead? 6 months. I look around my kitchen. The same kitchen where I've been making coffee every morning for 3 years. The same kitchen where Pornthip hums while she cooks pad thai and tells me about her day at the massage parlor. There must be some mistake, I manage to say. I understand this is confusing, sir, but we have official documentation from the Thai Ministry of Interior Affairs, death certificate number THB 2024-0847291. I write down the number with shaking hands. My heart is pounding so hard I can hear it in my ears. After I hang up, I just stand there, staring at that number. Pornthip is at work. The house is quiet except for the ceiling fan and the distant sound of traffic on Waikio Road. Everything looks normal, feels normal, but apparently I'm dead. I try to think rationally. Maybe it's identity theft. Maybe someone stole my passport information. These things happen to expats all the time, right? But then, why would the bank specifically mention Thai authorities? And why 6 months ago? 6 months ago. That's when Pornthip went to Bangkok for a week. Said her sister was sick, needed help with some paperwork. She came back exhausted, stressed, said the bureaucracy was a nightmare. I sit down at my laptop and start researching. Thai death certificates, ministry procedures, how to report someone deceased. The more I read, the more my stomach churns. This isn't random. Someone had to provide documentation, photos, proof of identity, medical records, someone who had access to all my personal information, someone who knew exactly where to go and what to say, someone who lives in this house. I spend the next 4 hours on the phone with Australian bureaucrats, Thai government offices, and anyone who will listen to a dead man trying to prove he's alive. The Australian embassy in Bangkok finally connects me with someone who speaks English and doesn't hang up when I explain the situation. Mr. Griffith, this happens more often than you'd think, the consular officer says. Usually it's insurance fraud or pension fraud. Do you live with anyone who would have access to your documents? My mouth goes dry. My wife. Thai national? Yes. How long have you been married? 2 years. We've been together for 3. There's a pause. Sir, I need to ask, are you currently in physical danger? The question catches me off guard. Physical danger? From Pornthip. She's barely 5 feet tall. She brings me tea when I'm sick. She learned to make my mother's meat pie recipe just to surprise me on my birthday. I don't think so, I say. Good. But you need to understand, if someone has fraudulently reported your death to collect your pension, that's a serious crime. In both countries, you need to be very careful about confronting anyone until you have all the facts. After the call, I go through every document in the house. My passport, birth certificate, marriage license, medical records, everything is exactly where I left it. But in Thailand, you don't always need originals. Copies work for a lot of things, and Pornthip has handled most of our paperwork since we got married. She's good at navigating Thai bureaucracy, speaks the language, knows which offices to visit. I find myself looking at our wedding photos on the wall. She looks so happy. I look so happy. Was any of it real? My laptop pings with an email from the embassy. They've located my death certificate in the system. Cause of death, sudden cardiac arrest. Date, 6 months and 12 days ago. Location, Chiang Mai Ram Hospital. Next of kin notified, Pornthip Griffith, wife. I stare at that last line until my eyes water. She's been Mrs. Griffith for 2 years, but seeing it typed out in an official death certificate makes me feel sick. The front door opens. I hear her voice calling out in Thai, then in English. "Darling, I'm home." I close my laptop and try to compose myself. She walks into the kitchen, still in her work uniform, smiling like she does every day. "How was your day?" she asks, kissing my cheek. "Fine," I lie. "Just fine." That night, I watch Pornthip like I've never watched her before. She moves through our evening routine exactly the same as always. Shower, dinner prep, asking me about my day while she chops vegetables. She seems genuinely interested in my answers, laughs at my stupid jokes about the neighbor's rooster. If she's running a con, she's the best actress I've ever seen. But the numbers don't lie. My pension is 3,200 Australian dollars per month. That's about 75,000 baht, more than most Thai families see in 6 months. For someone working at a massage parlor making maybe 15,000 baht a month, it would be life-changing money. "You're quiet tonight," she says, serving me pad see ew with extra egg. Just how I like it. Just tired. She sits across from me at our little wooden table, the same table where we've shared 1,000 meals, where she taught me to use chopsticks properly, where we plan our weekends and talk about maybe visiting her family in Isan. "Are you feeling sick? You look pale." I study her face, concern in her dark eyes. Her hand reaches across to feel my forehead, the same hand that apparently signed papers declaring me dead. "I'm fine," I say, "just thinking about some banking stuff." She nods and goes back to eating. No reaction. No flinch, nothing. After dinner, we watch Netflix like we do every night. She curls up against my shoulder during a Thai horror movie, jumping at the scary parts. I used to find it endearing. Now I'm wondering if she's acting that too. When we go to bed, she falls asleep within minutes, her breathing deep and even. I lie there staring at the ceiling fan, listening to the night sounds of Chiang Mai. Motorbikes, dogs barking, the occasional drunk tourist stumbling down the soi. I think about our life together, how we met at a coffee shop near the university, how she helped me find this house, negotiate with the landlord, set up utilities, how she held my hand during my first trip to a Thai hospital when I got food poisoning, how she cried when I proposed, said she never thought a Farang would want to actually marry her, not just live with her. Was all of that fake? Around 3 a.m. I slip out of bed and go to my laptop. I need more information before I do anything. The embassy gave me a case number and told me to document everything. Every conversation, every inconsistency, every lie. Starting tomorrow, I'm going to investigate my own murder. The next morning, Pornthip leaves for work like normal. I wait 30 minutes, then drive to the hospital listed on my death certificate. Chiang Mai Ram is a private hospital where we've never been. We always go to the public hospital near our house. But somehow, I supposedly died there 6 months ago. The records department is a maze of Thai bureaucracy, but my death certificate gets me through the doors. The clerk, a middle-aged woman with perfect English, pulls up my file on her computer. "Yes, Mr. Griffith. You were brought in by your wife on March 15th. Cardiac arrest in the emergency room. Very sad. Can I see the records?" She prints out several pages. Medical history, next of kin information, witness statements. All signed by Pornthip Griffith. According to these documents, I collapsed at home, she called an ambulance, and I died in the ER despite resuscitation efforts. The signature at the bottom looks like Pornthip's handwriting. But something feels off about the whole thing. Who pronounced the death, I ask. Dr. Surachai, he's not working today, but I can give you his contact information. I take everything she gives me and drive to a coffee shop to study the documents. The medical history section is eerily accurate. My blood pressure medication, my knee surgery from 2019, even my allergy to shellfish. Someone with intimate knowledge of my health filled this out. But there are small errors too. It lists my height as 175 centimeters. I'm 180. It says I have no tattoos, but I have a small one on my shoulder that Pornthip has traced with her finger dozens of times. My phone buzzes. Text from Pornthip. What do you want for dinner tonight? Thinking about green curry. I stare at the message for a long time before responding. Sounds good. How do you text normally with someone who thinks you're dead? Or, who knows, you found out you're supposed to be dead. I can't figure out which scenario we're in. I call Dr. Surachai. He remembers the case clearly. Very difficult situation, he says in accented English. Young wife very upset. Her husband, Farang man, cardiac arrest. She provided all the documentation we needed. Very professional, actually. Most family members are too emotional to handle the paperwork. Professional? Yes, she had everything ready. ID documents, marriage certificate, even pre-signed forms for body disposition. Like she was prepared. My blood runs cold. Pre-signed forms? Doctor, what happened to the body? Cremated the next day. Per wife's instructions. She said it was his wish to have his ashes scattered in Thailand. I hang up and sit in my car, hands shaking. There is no body because there was no death. But Pornthip told them what to do with a body that never existed. This wasn't impulsive. This was planned. I drive home in a daze, trying to piece together the timeline. 6 months ago, Pornthip went to Bangkok for a week. She came back exhausted, said her sister needed help with government paperwork. That's when I supposedly died. But I wasn't in Bangkok. I was here in Chiang Mai working on renovating our back patio. I remember because I cut my hand on a piece of metal roofing and had to get stitches at the local clinic. I still have the scar. When she got back from that trip, she was different for a few weeks, more attentive, almost clingy. Made my favorite meals every night. Wanted to take more photos together. Said she'd been thinking about how precious our time was, how she wanted to appreciate every moment. I thought it was sweet. Figured maybe her sick sister had reminded her how fragile life could be. Now I realize she was probably feeling guilty about murdering me on paper. I park outside our house and just sit there for a while. A street vendor pushes his cart past, selling some tam and grilled chicken. Normal life continuing around me while my world falls apart. Inside I go through Pornthip's things more carefully. Her dresser, her side of the closet, the small desk where she keeps her papers. Everything looks normal until I find an envelope hidden behind her jewelry box. Bank statements, but not for any account I know about. This is a Bangkok bank account, under her maiden name, Pornthip Somboon. Opened 3 months ago. The balance makes my heart stop, 247,000 baht. That's about 3 months of my pension payments, minus living expenses. There are also printouts of emails, all in Thai, but I can make out enough to understand they're about pension procedures and death benefits. She's been researching this for months, maybe longer. At the bottom of the envelope is a phone number written on a scrap of paper. I dial it on my Thai phone. Sawasdee krap, a man's voice answers. Do you speak English? Little bit. You need lawyer? A lawyer. That's how she did it. She hired a lawyer to help her navigate the process of declaring me dead and claiming my pension. Never mind, I say and hang up. I put everything back exactly how I found it and go sit on the couch. Our couch, where we've watched hundreds of movies, where she falls asleep against my shoulder on lazy Sunday afternoons. How long was she planning to keep this up? Years? Until the pension ran out? Until I actually died of old age? My phone buzzes. Another text from her. Stopping at market, need anything? Just you, I type back, then immediately regret the irony. Pornthip comes home with bags of groceries and that same bright smile she's worn for 3 years. She starts unpacking vegetables and chattering about her day. How busy the massage parlor. was how one customer left a big tip. I can't keep watching this performance. Pornthip, I say, standing in the kitchen doorway. Yes, darling? I got an interesting phone call yesterday. She keeps unpacking, but I see her hands slow down slightly. Oh? About what? My bank called. They said there was a problem with my pension payments. Now she stops completely, a bag of rice in her hands. What kind of problem? They said I was dead. The rice hits the floor with a soft thud. For a moment we just stare at each other. Then she laughs, but it sounds wrong. Forced. That's crazy. Thai government paperwork is so confusing sometimes. Must be a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake. She turns back to the groceries, moving faster now. Of course it's a mistake. You're standing right here. I'll help you call them tomorrow, okay? My English is better for these things. Pornthip, stop. She doesn't stop. She's pulling vegetables out of bags like her life depends on it. Maybe someone stole your information. Happens all the time to foreigners. We'll fix it, don't worry. I saw the death certificate. Her hands freeze on a bunch of morning glory. When she turns around, her face is completely different. The mask is off. No more bright smile, no more chattering, just cold calculation. What death certificate? The one you signed at Chiang Mai Hospital 6 months ago, when you reported me dead. We stare at each other across the small kitchen. The evening light coming through the window makes everything look golden and peaceful, but there's nothing peaceful about this moment. I can explain, she says quietly. I'm listening. She sits down at our table, looking suddenly very small and very young. My family is in debt. Big debt. My father borrowed money from the wrong people for my sister's medical bills. They were going to hurt him. So you killed me? Not killed, just reported you dead. I thought maybe for a few months, until we could pay the debt. Then I would fix it, say there was a mistake. A few months? Pornthip, I've been legally dead for 6 months already. You've collected almost 250,000 baht from my pension. Her eyes widen. She didn't expect me to know the exact amount. How did you... I found your bank statements. I called the hospital. I talked to the doctor who supposedly watched me die. She starts crying then, but I can't tell if the tears are real or just another performance. Through her tears, the whole story comes out. It started 8 months ago when her father's debts reached 300,000 baht. The loan sharks were threatening the whole family. Pornthip was desperate, working double shifts at the massage parlor, but it wasn't enough. I never meant for it to be forever, she sobs. I love you, Lawrence. I really love you. But not enough to tell me the truth, not enough to ask for help. You would have said no. Farangs always say Thai families ask for too much money. She's not wrong. I've heard every expat in Chiang Mai complain about their Thai partners' families needing money. Medical bills, business investments, water buffalo emergencies. We joke about it at the expat bars. But 300,000 baht isn't a joke. That's serious. Money, even for me. So you decided to commit fraud instead. I had a plan, she insists, wiping her eyes. My cousin works at the AMFA office in Bangkok. She knows someone who handles foreign death certificates. I was going to collect money for 6 months, pay the debt, then say there was a computer error, that it happens sometimes with Farang paperwork. The scariest part is how reasonable she makes it sound, like identity fraud and pension theft are just minor bureaucratic hiccups. What about the doctor, the hospital? My cousin's friend knows people. The doctor thinks you really died. He has paperwork that says so. The hospital got paid for services, so they're happy. I realize I've been living with a criminal mastermind disguised as a simple massage parlor worker. This wasn't desperate. Improvisation. This was an organized conspiracy involving multiple people, multiple government offices, and weeks of careful planning. And you never thought I might find out. Australian government is slow. Thai government is slow. I thought maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years before anyone noticed. 1 or 2 years of collecting my pension while I'm sitting right here. I was going to share it with you, she says desperately. I was going to say, my family sent money or I got a promotion. We could have traveled, bought a bigger house. With my own money? She looks down at her hands. I know it sounds bad when you say it like that. The kitchen is getting dark, but neither of us reaches for the light switch. We sit in the growing shadows like strangers who happen to end up in the same house. What happens now? She asks. I honestly don't know. Do I call the police? Do I call the embassy? Do I just pack my bags and leave Thailand forever? Do I still love someone who doesn't technically exist because her husband is legally dead? That night I sleep on the couch, not because I'm afraid of Pornthip, but because lying next to her feels impossible. Every time I look at her, I see two people, the woman I married and the stranger who's been stealing from me for months. In the morning, she brings me coffee and toast cut into triangles, the way she's done for 3 years. Her eyes are red from crying. I called my family last night, she says. I told them what I did. What did they say? My father wants to pay you back. He's going to sell his rice land. The thing is, I don't want her father to sell his land. I've met him twice, a quiet man who grows rice and raises chickens in Thailand. He works 14-hour days in the sun and has never asked me for anything. If he loses his land because of this, her whole family will be destroyed. How much have you collected so far? About 240,000 baht. I spent 60,000 on the debt payments, and the rest is still in the account. So she's stolen about 300,000 baht total, but 180,000 is still recoverable. The bigger problem is what happens when I try to resurrect myself legally. The Australian government will want to know how this happened. The Thai government will investigate. People could go to prison. Pornthip, this isn't just about money anymore. You've committed serious crimes in 2 countries. She nods, fresh tears starting. I know, I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. After she leaves for work, I call the embassy again. The consular officer listens to my update and lets out a long sigh. Mr. Griffith, this is complicated. If we pursue this officially, your wife and potentially several other people will face criminal charges. Pension fraud is a felony in Australia, and falsifying death certificates is a serious crime in Thailand. And if I don't pursue it, then you're still legally dead, and your pension payments will remain suspended until we can prove you're alive through proper channels. That could take months, even if your wife cooperates fully. What do you recommend? Personally, if you can recover most of the money and your wife is willing to cooperate in fixing the paperwork, it might be better to handle this quietly. But officially, I can't advise you to ignore criminal activity. I hang up and stare out the window at our small garden. Pornthip planted jasmine flowers along the fence because she knows I like the smell. She's been tending them for 2 years, watering them every evening after work. How do you forgive someone who loves you enough to plant flowers, but not enough to tell you the truth? The next few days blur together in a nightmare of government offices and paperwork. Pornthip takes time off work to help me navigate the process of proving I'm not dead. Apparently, resurrection is more complicated than murder, even on paper. First stop is the AMFA office in Bangkok, where my death certificate was filed. Pornthip's cousin Nim works there, a quiet woman in her 40s who won't make eye contact with me. She's clearly terrified about what she's gotten herself into. Can you fix this? I ask through Pornthip's translation. Nim speaks rapidly in Thai, gesturing at computer screens and filing cabinets. Pornthip translates. She says it's very difficult. Once someone is dead in the system, you can't just change it back. There has to be an official investigation. What kind of investigation? More rapid Thai. They have to determine if the original death certificate was fraudulent. That could take months and involve police. We sit in uncomfortable plastic chairs in the cramped office, while Nim makes phone calls and prints documents. Other people come and go, young couples applying for marriage certificates, old women registering births. Normal life happening around us while we try to undo our very abnormal situation. After 3 hours, Nim has a solution. Not a good solution, but a solution. If I provide medical documentation proving I'm alive, blood work, physical exam, signed statement from a doctor, and if Pornthip signs a statement admitting the original death certificate was filed in error, they can process a correction within 2 weeks. What happens to Nim? I ask. Pornthip doesn't translate that question, but Nim seems to understand English better than she lets on. She answers directly, maybe suspension, maybe fired. Depends on investigation. On the drive back to Chiang Mai, Pornthip is quiet for a long time. Finally, she says, Nim has 3 children. If she loses her job, I know. Her husband left her 2 years ago. The government job was the only stable thing she had. I get it. This isn't just about me and Pornthip anymore. There are other families, other lives that will be destroyed if this gets traced back to everyone involved. What about the doctor, the hospital? They just did what they were told. Doctor saw official papers, so he signed official papers. Hospital got paid for service, so they processed everything properly. Somehow, even the medical professionals were fooled by the quality of the fraud, or maybe they just didn't ask too. Many questions when presented with proper documentation and payment. By the time we get home, I'm exhausted. Being dead is surprisingly tiring work. That night, Pornthip cooks my favorite meal, massaman curry with beef that falls apart when you touch it. She doesn't eat much, just moves food around her plate. I ruined everything, didn't I? She says. 2 weeks later, I'm officially alive. Again. The corrected documentation arrives by courier, signed and stamped by 3 different government offices. Lawrence Marcus Griffith, date of birth March 12, 1968. Status, living. It should feel like a victory, but it doesn't. The Australian Embassy processes my case quietly, restoring my pension without asking too many questions. They seem relieved to avoid an international incident over pension fraud. My back payments arrive within days, nearly $10,000 that should have been mine all along. Pornthip keeps her promise and returns every baht she can. The Bangkok bank account is emptied, 180,000 baht transferred back to my Australian account. It doesn't cover everything she took, but it's close enough. Her father doesn't have to sell his rice land after all, but the damage goes deeper than money. "Do you want me to leave?" she asks one evening. We're sitting on our back patio, the one I was renovating when I supposedly died. I never finished it. The half-completed tile work stares at us like an unfinished conversation. I don't know what I want. I can move back to my sister's house in Bangkok, give you time to think. The thing is, I still love her. That's the part that makes me angry at myself. After everything, the lies, the theft, the 6 months of collecting money from my death, I still love the woman who brings me coffee in the morning and laughs at my terrible Thai pronunciation. Would you have told me eventually? I ask. I don't know, maybe. I kept thinking about it, but then time kept passing and it got harder and harder. And if I hadn't found out? If the bank had never called? She's quiet for a long time. I think I would have told you when we had enough. Money to pay back everything. Like maybe 6 more months. 6 more months of being dead while living with my wife. 6 more months of morning coffee and evening movies and weekend trips to the night market. 6 more months of loving someone who was committing crimes against me every day. Pornthip, do you understand that you could have gone to prison for this? That people could still go to prison? Yes. And do you understand that I can never trust you the same way again? Her voice is barely a whisper. Yes. We sit in silence as the sun sets over Chiang Mai. Motorbikes buzz past on the street. Someone's cooking dinner. I can smell garlic. And chili. Normal sounds of a normal evening in a life that feels anything but normal. I need time, I finally say. How much time? I don't know. That night, she sleeps in the spare room. It's the first time we've been apart since we got married, and the house feels wrong without her breathing beside me. 3 weeks pass in a strange routine. We're polite to each other, like roommates who don't quite get along. She makes breakfast. I say thank you. I ask about her work. She gives short answers. We watch television on opposite ends of the couch. The worst part is how normal everything looks from the outside. Neighbors wave when we're both in the garden. The lady at the corner shop still asks when we're going to have children. Our landlord stops by to check on the leaky faucet and makes small talk about the weather. No one knows I was dead for 6 months. But I can feel the weight of the lie in everything we do. When Pornthip reaches for my hand during a movie, I pull away automatically. When she suggests we visit her family in Isan, I change the subject. When she cries quietly at night in the spare room, I pretend I can't hear her. I think about leaving Thailand entirely, going back to Australia, starting over, finding someone who won't commit federal crimes against me. But I'm 56 years old. I spent my entire career as a mining engineer, saved every penny for early retirement in Southeast Asia. What am I going to do back home? Rent a studio apartment in Perth and work at Bunnings? Plus, despite everything, this is my life now. 3. Years in Chiang Mai have changed me. I know which street vendors make the best som tam. I can bargain for vegetables in broken Thai. I have a routine, a community, a place that feels like home. The problem isn't Thailand, the problem is trust. One evening, I find Pornthip sitting at the kitchen table with a pile of papers spread out in front of her. "What's all this?" I ask. "English classes," she says without looking up. "And computer." "Training. I signed up for both. Why? So I can get a better job, make more money legally, so this doesn't happen again. The classes are expensive, 15,000 baht each. Money she doesn't have since she returned most of what she stole from me." "How are you paying for this?" "I sold my gold bracelet, the one my grandmother gave me. It was her most valuable possession, the only thing she owned that was worth any real money. She wore it every day for the first 2 years I knew her." Pornthip. "I'm trying to fix things," she says, still not looking at me. "I know I can't change what I did, but I can try to be different." That night, I lie awake thinking about gold bracelets and English classes and second chances. I wake up at 3 a.m. with a decision that surprises me. I don't want to spend the rest of my life being angry. I don't want to grow old alone in a foreign country, carrying grudges and checking bank statements every day for signs of fraud. I don't want to be the bitter expat at the bar, warning everyone about Thai women and their families, but I also can't pretend this didn't happen. The next morning, I ask Pornthip to sit down with me. She looks terrified, probably thinking I'm going to tell her to pack her bags. "I've been thinking," I say. "Okay, what you did was wrong, it was criminal, it was a betrayal, and it could have destroyed both of our lives." She nods, eyes filling with tears. "But I also think I understand why you did it, and I think maybe we can find a way forward." Her head snaps up. "Really?" "On conditions." "Anything." "First, complete honesty from now on, about everything. Money, family problems, work, feelings. No more protecting me from difficult conversations." "Yes." "Second, you pay me back the rest of what you took. I know it's only about 60,000 baht, but it matters. You can do it slowly, but you have to do it." "Of course." "And third, this is the hard one. You have to understand that trust isn't something you can just apologize for. I'm going to have questions. I'm going to check things. I'm going to be suspicious sometimes, even when you don't deserve it. You can't get angry about that. I understand. And if anything like this ever happens again, anything, we're done. No second chances, no explanations. Done." She's crying now, but nodding. "It won't happen again, I promise." "Don't promise. Just do it." That afternoon, we drive to the bank together and open a joint account. All money goes there now, my pension, her salary from the massage parlor, everything. Complete transparency. It's not romantic, but romance is what got us into this mess. We also make a plan for her family's ongoing financial problems. If there are emergencies, we'll discuss them together and decide together what we can afford to help with. No more secret loans, no more desperate solutions. That night, she moves back into our bedroom. We don't make love. We're not ready for that yet. But we sleep in the same bed, and for the first time in months, I don't lie awake, wondering what she's planning. "Lawrence," she whispers in the dark. "Yeah? Thank you for giving me a second chance." "Don't thank me yet. We have a lot of work to do." "I know. I'm not sure we're going to make it. Trust is fragile, and once it's broken, the cracks never completely heal. But I'm willing to try." 6 months later, our life looks almost normal again. Almost. Pornthip finished her English classes and got promoted to manager at the massage parlor. Her salary doubled, which helps with paying me back the remaining money she owes. She transfers 5,000 baht to our joint account every month, marked clearly as repayment. At this rate, she'll have it all back to me within a year. We've developed new routines. Every Sunday morning, we sit down with coffee and go through our finances together. Every bill, every expense, every baht accounted for. It feels clinical compared to how we used to handle money, but it works. Her family still has problems. Her father's diabetes got worse, her sister lost her job. But now we discuss each situation openly. Sometimes we help, sometimes we don't. But we decide together. The hardest part isn't the money or the practical stuff. It's the small moments when doubt creeps in, when she's on her phone speaking Thai rapidly, and I wonder who she's talking to. When mail arrives, addressed only to her, and she takes it to another room to read. When she's unexpectedly cheerful after a bad day at work. These moments pass quickly now, but they still happen. Trust is like a broken bone. It heals stronger, but you always know where the break was. "Do you regret staying?" she asks one evening. We're back to watching movies together, but we still sit on opposite ends of the couch. I regret that it happened at all. That's not what I asked. I think about it honestly. No, I don't regret staying, but I regret that we had to start over. Are we starting over, or are we just continuing differently? It's a good question. We're not the same people we were before. I'm more careful, more suspicious. She's more careful too, but in a different way. More conscious of consequences, more aware of how her actions affect other people. I think we're learning to be different people together, I say. She scoots closer on the couch, not touching me, but close enough that I can smell her shampoo. I miss the way we used to be. Me too. But maybe this way is more honest. Maybe. That night, for the first time since I found out I was dead, she reaches for my hand in bed. I don't pull away. It's not the same as it used to be. There's still a wall between us, thinner now, but still there. But it's a start. A year and a half later, I'm sitting in the same coffee shop where I first researched Thai death certificates, writing this story. Pornthip is at work, managing her massage parlor and taking business English classes in the evenings. She paid me back every baht 6 months ago, and our joint account has a healthy balance. We're planning a trip to Australia next month, her first time meeting my family. My sister thinks I'm crazy for staying with someone who killed me, even on paper. My brother just wants to make sure I'm happy. I think I am, most of the time. The trust isn't completely back. I don't know if it ever will be. But we've built something different. A relationship based on transparency instead of romance, on shared decisions instead of blind faith. It's not the fairy tale love story I thought I had, but it's more honest. I still check our bank statements every month, and she knows I check them. I still ask more questions than I used to, and she answers them patiently. We both know this is the price of staying together. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I'd just left, moved to Vietnam or the Philippines, started over with someone new. But at 58, I'm tired of starting over. And despite everything, Pornthip and I know each other in ways that go deeper than her mistakes. She knows I put too much milk in my coffee, and that I get grumpy when it's too hot to sleep. I know she hums Thai pop songs when she's happy, and that she's afraid of spiders, but pretends not to be. These small intimacies survived the lies and the betrayal. Last week, she brought up having children again, something we talked about before. Everything happened. I know I don't deserve it, she said, but maybe someday when things are better between us. I told her we'd see, not because I'm punishing her, but because I'm honestly not sure. Having children requires the kind of trust. We're still rebuilding day by day. For now, we're taking it 1 month at a time. One conversation at a time, one shared meal, one joint bank statement, one small decision at a time. I learned that you can love someone who betrays you. You can forgive someone who steals from you, but you can never unknow what you know about who they really are. Sometimes that's enough. Sometimes it has to be.